Imagine driving down a remote mountain road, fog rolling over the trees, the silence so thick it almost slows your heartbeat. That's exactly where this story begins. There is a village hidden deep in the Balkan Mountains, one that appears on some maps from the 1950s but mysteriously disappeared from newer ones. Locals who grew up hearing the tales call it Brezno, but the strange thing is, no one seems to know anyone who has actually lived there. Let me tell you what investigators found when they finally reached this place, because it's one of the most unsettling things I've ever researched. This all started in 2014, when a group of historical researchers were tracing old Cold War supply routes through the rugged Balkan terrain. They kept noticing something odd in the archives. Official government records from 1952 repeatedly mentioned a village named Brezno, citing it as a small but established community. But after that specific year, it was like the place had been wiped off the face of the earth. Nothing. No census data, no relocation records, no evacuation orders. It just vanished from all official documentation. Intrigued, the team decided to take a detour. Using the coordinates from those old, faded documents, they ventured off the main path. They hiked deep into a dense forest where modern technology became unreliable. GPS signals flickered and died. Compasses spun erratically for hours. They climbed through overgrown trails and steep, rocky inclines. Just as they were about to give up, one of them spotted something through the canopy of trees. Rooftops. Old weathered rooftops. They had found it. A village, exactly where the maps said it would be. But as they got closer, a chilling feeling washed over them. Something was very, very wrong. When they stepped into Brezno, it was like walking into a photograph from another era. It was a place completely frozen in time. Old-fashioned bicycles were leaning against weathered wooden fences, as if their owners had just propped them there. Laundry still hung on clotheslines, swaying gently in the breeze, but the clothes were styled straight out of the 1950s. On one porch, a newspaper lay folded, its headline visible under a thick layer of dust. The date was clear, July 17, 1952. The strangest part wasn't just the vintage scenery, it was the feeling that people had been there only moments ago. They pushed open the door to one of the houses. Inside, the dinner table was set. Plates of food sat waiting, now covered in a 60-year-old layer of dust and decay. A child's toy car was left in the middle of the floor. It looked like the residents had just vanished in the middle of their daily lives. Time didn't feel still here. It felt broken. It was as if the entire village was holding its breath, waiting for people who were never coming back. The team searched every house, every barn, every alleyway. They found no signs of a struggle, no evidence of a fire or a natural disaster. Most disturbingly, they found no bodies, no skeletons, and not a single grave that looked newer than the 1940s. It was pure, inexplicable emptiness. In one home, they found a calendar hanging on the kitchen wall. Every day up to July 18, 1952, had been neatly crossed out. The next day, July 19th, was left completely blank, as if tomorrow never came. They moved on to the small village schoolhouse. The scene inside was even more eerie. Children's notebooks were left open on their desks, as if the students had been interrupted mid-sentence. Pencils still lay diagonally across the last words they had written. And then, the discovery that sent a cold shiver down the entire team's spines. On the dusty blackboard at the front of the classroom, a single sentence was written in chalk. The handwriting was neat, almost frantic. It read, "When the sky cracks open, we must stay inside." What did that mean? What did they see in the sky? And why didn't they leave? As they explored deeper into the village, one of the team members, an amateur radio enthusiast, switched on an old portable receiver he'd brought along. He didn't expect to find anything. The area was a dead zone. But then, a faint signal crackled to life. It was impossible. There were no active radio stations for hundreds of miles. Through the static, a voice emerged, speaking in an outdated regional dialect. It kept repeating the same cryptic phrase, over and over again. "The day hasn't changed. The danger still stands. Remain in your homes." The team recorded the transmission. Later, when experts analyzed the audio, they confirmed it had no modern broadcasting signature. It was an analog signal that seemed to originate from nowhere. It sounded old, and somehow, it was still broadcasting, as if the message sent in 1952 never stopped. At the far end of the village, separate from the other houses, stood a large, foreboding building. Its door was barricaded from the outside with heavy wooden planks and rusted chains. Scrawled across the boards in what looked like white paint were urgent warnings. "Do not enter. The hour has not passed." And the most chilling one, "Time is broken." Against their better judgment, the team pried the boards loose and forced the door open. Inside, they found what looked like a makeshift bunker. The room was filled with stacks of notebooks, hundreds of them, all filled with handwritten entries. Every notebook documented a strange, recurring event. The villagers had been witnessing a blinding white flash in the sky, appearing every single night at the exact same time, 11:52 p.m., and immediately after the flash, they reported terrifying phenomena: missing time, days inexplicably repeating, disembodied voices whispering outside their windows, and dreams that felt like they lasted for weeks. Some entries claimed they would go to sleep on a Tuesday, only to wake up and find it was still Tuesday, again and again. They were trapped. The team frantically searched for the final entry. They found it in a small journal near the back of the bunker. The last written page was dated July 18, 1952, with a time written next to it, 23:52, 11:52 p.m. The final entry read, "The Flash has returned. We cannot escape it. Today will repeat until the sky changes. If you find this, do not stay until midnight." That was the final sentence. After that, nothing. The village showed no signs of a planned evacuation. No bags were packed, no personal belongings were missing. It was as if everyone, all at once, had simply stepped out of existence. Reading that last warning, a wave of pure terror hit the researchers. They looked at their watches. It was already late in the afternoon. They decided to leave immediately. As they hiked back through the dense forest, the strange radio signal on their receiver began to distort, the voice becoming frantic and garbled. Then, suddenly, the entire forest lit up with a faint ethereal white glow. Every member of the team checked their watch. They all blinked in unison. 11:52 p.m. For a moment, just a single terrifying moment, the world around them became silent, unnaturally silent. The sounds of the forest, the wind, everything just stopped. Then, as quickly as it appeared, the glow faded, the silence broke. Their watches reset themselves to the correct time. Shaken, they turned to look back at the path they had just taken. It was gone. The trail had vanished, replaced by untouched, dense forest, as if it had never been there at all. It took them to frantic, terrifying hours to find their way back to the main road. The next day, they returned with local authorities, determined to document what they had found. But when they arrived at the location, Brezno was gone. Not destroyed, not buried, just not there. It was as if the village, and the forest around it, had shifted out of time once again. To this day, the story of Brezno remains a terrifying mystery. The audio recordings of the radio transmission exist. The photographs of the village and the scanned pages of the journals exist, but the village itself has never been found again. Some theories suggest Brezno was caught in a localized time loop, perhaps triggered by a secret Cold War experiment gone horribly wrong. Others believe the villagers witnessed something in the sky they were unsupposed to, something that literally broke time for them. And a few paranormal investigators think the village still exists, just not in our timeline anymore, phasing in and out of reality. But even now, hikers in those remote Balkan mountains sometimes report seeing a faint, unexplained glow in the distance at exactly 11:52 p.m. And on rare occasions, they claim to hear a distant radio voice whispering through the static. The day hasn't changed. Thank you for watching. If stories about unsolved mysteries and strange phenomena intrigue you, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.